Hi there, I'm John. Let's talk about building a historical impression for reenactment from the ground up. First off, this is wrong. You may have been led to believe that medieval peasants were considered expendable, wore no armor, and fought with pitchforks and other farming implements. But that's simply not true. First things first, you want a gambeson. I think it's safe to assume that by now you know a thing or two about gambesons, but I'll put some informational links in the description. But I'd like to clarify, before you move on, the gambeson doesn't need to be too thick, as historical ones tended to not be. I'll have some links to reasonably historical gambesons that you can buy on a budget. Toss on a hood and a belt, and it's very comfortable, and both of those things will come in handy later. So keep that in mind. Historically speaking, the next thing up is a helmet. If you're doing primarily infantry stuff, which most of us do since horses are expensive, there's not much need for a visor. But you've still got a few helmets to choose from. Links in the description. But here are two choices. A skull cap or a bascinet sort of thing, or a kettle helmet of some sort. And don't forget there are plenty of variation in just those two categories alone. But for now, we'll stick with the kettle helmet. Just like today, people in the past didn't appreciate their throats being all out in the open with weapons flying around. And there are some creative ways around this problem, like standing collars, but what you'll see in the 14th century is some sort of mail defense. You might prefer to have some sort of mail collar underneath for an extra additional form of protection, but it's not strictly necessary. If your helmet already has some kind of aventail, then that's great. But in the 1350s there were plenty of coifs to go around. Here I'm using a coif under my kettle helmet, and remember that hood? Well, that's under the coif, and it provides a little bit of padding, and the mail doesn't rest directly on your scalp, which becomes uncomfortable. But it also provides padding on the shoulders and everything, a little bit like a lined aventail. Now some sort of hand protection. Mail mittens and gloves were certainly still around in the 1350s, but you might want some sort of plate protection, like these gauntlets that I'm using, which are modeled on the ones found in the Wisby mass graves and still work very well, both historically and functionally. Now, you've got a reasonably good amount of protection. But you want more? Well, alright then, how about some torso protection? A mail haubergeon is a good choice. There are some pretty good ones on the market and provide pretty good, reasonably adequate protection. And as a bonus, they're comfortable to wear. But if you want even more torso protection, consider a coat of plates. This one is modeled after yet another Wisby artifact. And now these are harder to find on the market, but they're on the simpler side to make. There's a link in the description on how to make one. We won't worry about more developed arm and leg protection for now, since those are another entire discussion. But what about weapons? Well, everyone would have had a knife or a dagger or something similar, even when on a military campaign. The useful things to have around for all the same uses you would have for a knife today, cutting food, cutting different things that you run into in life, using it as a tool, just that sort of thing. But naturally, you wouldn't want to go into battle with just a dagger. So how about a sword? For a guy armored like this, I would recommend a single-hand sword paired with a heater shield. But that's only one combination. If you're more of a polearm guy, then consider a halberd. Or, if you're feeling a little bit more traditional, a spear. By now, I think we can both appreciate the difference between this and this. And for those of you who are new, I hope I've provided a decent guide. And until next time, I'm John at Living Manuscript. Thanks for watching.